Here we are over 2 months since the time that the law requires us to have a budget resolution in place. They officially said this week, Majority Leader Hoyer said this week, they're not even going to do a budget. They're just going to punt. They're just going to pass. The American people, American small business owners, they don't get to take a pass. They got to do a budget. And it's unfortunate that's the route they're taking, particularly at this critical time when we have this out-of-control spending. We, on the other hand, have been responsible. I introduced the only balanced budget last year in Congress. We reintroduced it 3 weeks ago. Our budget does the right things. It protects national defense. It protects Social Security. It keeps the tax cuts in place that are there and also reduces the tax burden. But I'll tell you, in order to balance a budget, you have to do some things. And one of those things is you have to cut some spending. I mean, imagine that. So we do. And what we do, and this is the key, we do what Americans have had to do over the last 2 years. We say, let's go back to the baseline, the 2008 baseline. Let's go back to the level of spending before all the bailouts, before all the false stimulus, before all the ridiculous spending took place. Let's go back to that baseline, and let's hold that baseline. After all, a lot of families, a lot of taxpayers, a lot of small business owners have had to live on a budget of last year's budget or a reduced budget or a budget they were on 2 years ago, and they've been able to sustain it, and they've had to make the tough decisions. Why in the world can't the federal government do the same thing? That's what our budget does. We get to balance. We get to balance in 2019. We get there with putting it on the right path, and that's the message you have to send to the market. You got to turn this ship around, point it in the right direction, and that will send the right message to the market, and that will also help create a better economic climate where job creation can take place.